Hey guys, Rage Quitting here. A lot of you have been asking for Immortal Juggernaut PvP guide, so here it is. I kind of, at first I didn't want to make one because, I myself, like, I don't play this spec all that much. The only time I really play it is for ranked, if I'm trying to, climb some ranked elo. And the reason why is because just too damn broken. Okay, this Immortal Jug is broken as fuck. It's kind of cheesy at times, and I get kind of annoyed when a tank jug, gets a kill on me and they think they're all badass, but it's because, dude, you're playing fucking tank jug. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's just my little rant on that. But let's just get right into it, okay? So the reasons why this spec is so broken is just because you have a whole extra defensive cooldown than you normally would have if you were playing, Rage or um, Vengeance. Okay, so yeah, you have your normal DCDs, you have your enraged defense, you have saber ward, you have saber reflect, but then now you have invincible. Okay, this is on a 2-minute 30-second cooldown, and it reduces all damage taken by 40% for 15 seconds. Okay, 15 seconds is such a long time to be taking 40% damage. Or I mean 40% reduced damage. Okay, so you have invincible. You also have one extra hard stun, okay? Because normally you would just have force choke, right? But now with Immortal you have backhand, okay, which is another 4-second hard stun that deals a good amount of damage as well. Okay, so you have those two, and then your attack rotation is not as long and or as fluid, but that's okay because in between your attack rotations you should be taunting targets and guard swapping and interceding to people, so you always have something to do. It's not like a DPS, your DPS spec, where your DPS rotation kind of just goes infinitely, right, over and over and over, kind of like how Rage and Vengeance does. This one, you have a really big little burst window within your attack rotation, and then after that it's just small hits, and then you're kind of just waiting on these cooldowns to come back up for you to do your burst rotation again. Okay, and then in the meantime you should be guard swapping and interceding to people and CCing and taunting and whatever it is that that you do to help your team out. Okay, let's just get into the tree real quick. Or actually, I'll show you how to build for it. So in PvP, I would not recommend going full tank with full on tank gear and everything in here is all tank stuff. I mean, unless you want to just be unkillable, because you can be unkillable, but you're not going to kill anything, and you're not going to do any significant amount of damage whatsoever. But if you want to be fully tanky and unkillable, hence the name Immortal Juggernaut, then you can go ahead and do that. But the better way to play it, and the way that makes it really broken, is to use all DPS stats, okay, in every single thing. Even your shield has DPS stats, okay, except for the mods that are, except for the armorings, excuse me, except for the armorings inside of your armor pieces, okay, because since you're in tank stance, Immortal, you still want the 6-piece armor set bonus for it, okay, just to give yourself a little bit extra boost, because the DPS set bonus does not help you at all with this spec. Okay, so the OP way that everybody plays it is DPS everything but tank armorings, okay? And since you only need the 6-piece, there's a reason why my headpiece here still has the DPS one in it, is because you only need 6 pieces, right? And there's 7 armors, so the last one I just kept it with the DPS one just to get that little bit of extra mastery over the endurance. Okay, and you also get from the tree, you also get 10% accuracy. Okay, so you don't need to gear for any accuracy at all. Okay, so all you need to gear for is power, mastery, and crit. If you choose to, like for me, for example, I have that tier 2 alacrity, all right, which you get at 703 points here, or 7.14% is the tier 2 alacrity, okay, and so I have above the tier 2 threshold. I have 8% here, and then everything else is endurance. I have mostly mastery, endurance, power all the way around, with just a sprinkle of, I have one alacrity augment here, and then I think I only have 2 critical augments total in this whole thing. Actually, one, yeah, just one. So I have 1 crit augment, and then the rest of it is mastery, endurance, power, and it gets me to around 44%, okay? And my bonus damage is sitting around 4k. The reason why you don't want to go with the higher alacrity build for this is, well, I mean, it's all preference really, but I prefer to have as much bonus damage as I possibly can. If you go with the crit, that means you're going to go crit augments all the way around, and then your bonus damage is going to drop significantly to maybe like 3600, 3700, okay? So that's the reasoning for that, okay? And basically, in the tree here, this skill right here, Crushing Blow, is your biggest hitting ability, okay? And it does single target damage and it does AoE damage, okay? But the way to make it do AoE damage is to set it up with your Aegis Assault. Aegis Assault is the replacement to Sundering Strike, okay? The one that gives you rage and decreases the armor rating of your opponent, right? So that skill got replaced. So if I go back to playing Vengeance or Rage, I'll get Sundering Strike or Sundering Assault, whatever it is, but it's Sundering something, okay? But now it's replaced by Aegis Assault, okay? And you use this, it gives you 3% damage reduction, and then you can set up your Crushing Blow for AoE damage, okay? So let me just do it on the dummy here, right? Okay, so if I if I did it without setting it up with a Aegis Assault, it's gonna do single target damage, okay? But if there was more enemies standing around here and I set it up with the Aegis Assault, then it'll hit every single person around, okay? So Aegis Assault, and then go ahead and use bang, okay, and that will do AoE damage to every person standing in the direct vicinity, okay. And what's cool about this skill though is if you mez somebody, right, with your intimidating roar, your AoE CC, as long as you don't attack them, right, or if somebody's whirlwinded, it's not going to hit them, so you don't have to worry about it bringing them out of back into combat. Okay, where does it say that? It actually says it here somewhere. Does not damage sleeping, lifted, or incapacitated enemies. Okay? So, for example, you could be fighting here. Okay, you could set it up with that, and then you could AoE people, and then boom, just to hit the one guy if you wanted, or run over here, do the AoE, and then come back and hit this guy and not hit that guy, right? Okay. Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much the gist of it. Like in the tree here, things give you damage reduction, blah blah blah. But the thing that makes it OP is just you have 2 hard stuns and you have 1 extra defensive utility, and since you're in this spec and you're using a shield, all of a sudden your shield chance gets bumped up a lot. Okay, just from being in this spec, it gets bumped up by 19%. So you have a 24% shield chance and 20% shield absorb. Yeah, it doesn't bump up your defense chance though. Okay, and that's basically it. So if you wanted to, if I wanted to do a little rotation on this guy, leap in. Oh yeah, I'm also taking the free throw on Vicious Throw after every leap, just because this spec is naturally tanky. So I feel like you don't really need any of the tanky utilities. Okay, so I pretty much run it the same way I would if I was playing Vengeance. Except I take reduce cooldown on Force Choke, just because. Alright guys, let's go over the utilities real quick. See, since you're so tanky, just being Immortal Jug, like I feel like you don't really need any of the tanky utilities, and this is for regular PvP, okay? So I'll explain briefly. Okay, Warmonger, just because, you know, the more you get attacked, the lower your cooldown is on your lead. Okay, so, you know, it's pretty easy to kite a Juggernaut, but if you take this utility here, every time you get hit, they lower the cooldown on your force charge, so then you can get back onto your target easier. Okay, I take the Ravage route because it's annoying as shit. Okay, then I take Pooled Hatred because this is a very strong utility. Every time you're CC'd, pushed back, slowed, you know, knocked away, mezzed, you get an increase to your next ability that consumes rage. Okay, and for this spec, you're gonna want to try and save that for Crushing Blow. Okay, so you can get really big Crushing Blow hits on somebody when you finally get up to them and just slap them super hard with your next Crushing Blow. Okay, and then, you know, you can either take, I tend to either take either Unshackling Rage or Strangulate. Okay, for two reasons. Unshackling Rage, you know, you just move faster and it cleanses a root. And that's mainly what I would take that for, just to get an extra root cleanse. Or if you don't really mind being rooted, because, you know, you have Pooled Hatred anyway, so you kind of want to get rooted and pushed and stuff like that, so that they buff your damage. I take Strangulate, okay, just to reduce the cooldown on your Force Choke by 15 seconds, which will turn this into maybe like a, you know, 45-second cooldown. Okay. And then next up, I always take Through Passion, no matter what spec you're playing, you know, Vengeance, Rage, or Immortal. Take Through Passion just because this is your best defensive cooldown that gets you from 0 health to full health, okay? As long as people are attacking you. It is a really good cooldown, and having it lower by 30 seconds is awesome, okay? And then I take Warbringer. You know, you get a free Vicious Throw every time you force charge, okay? Every time you're attacked, it lowers the cooldown on your force charge, so you can force charge more often, and every time you force charge, you get a free Vicious Throw, which is just free damage, and that's why I take this. Okay. And then Through Victory, just because you know, it's a really good gap closer, it's a really good root break, and having it on a lower cooldown just means that you can stay on top of your targets easier or get away easier. Like, let's say you're really low and you're about to die, and somebody roots you, like a, you know, sorcerer or a sage, you know, puts that annoying, you know, if they're playing dots, they have that affliction root. You know, you can just get out of roots. Okay, operatives have a root, snipers have a root, almost everything has a root. Okay, roots are everywhere, and if you don't want to just stand there and take the damage while you're rooted, you can mad dash, get out of the root. You're probably going to dodge a lot of incoming attacks while you do it, so good utility here. Okay, and then after this I take, you know, it depends, but I take one of three things: either Thrown Gauntlet for the reduced cooldown of Force Push and Intimidating Roar, and Saber Throw immobilizes for 3 seconds. I usually tend to take this just because having those utilities off cooldown sooner is really nice. You know, AoE CC, your Force Push, you know, just to be a dick, or interrupt things, or, you know, push people off ledges and stuff like that. You know, Force Push is, you know, one of my favorite moves as a Juggernaut. I tend to take either this, or if you're going to be a little bit more of a team player, you can get Reckoning, which will lower the cooldown on your Intercede. Intercede, you know, reduces the amount of damage taken for your teammate by 20% for 6 seconds, and it's on a lower cooldown. So it's kind of like more mobility here too, if you need to get back to the team fight, or you know, bounce around teammates just to juke people and use mobility to outplay. You know, then Intercede is really nice. And you get a damage bonus on your next ability. So another damage bonus to Crushing Blow if you save it for Crushing Blow. Or Intimidating Presence, which gives your Saber Reflect, you know, an additional 2 seconds on it. So instead of reflecting for 3 seconds, you will reflect for 5 seconds. Okay. The other ones I don't really take. just because piercing chill, like I don't use I don't. If you take this one, then you can't use your intimidating roar on a group when you want to, because they'll probably still have dots on them from your piercing chill. And extending the reach on your force scream is not all that important to me, because you just have ways of gap closing anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I usually tend to take Thrown Gauntlet here, so it's pretty much almost the same as Vengeance, except for I switch Unstoppable to Strangulate here. Okay, and that is how I set it up for regs. Oh, but for ranked though, and I wouldn't suggest playing this in ranked if you're not very good at it, unless you want to just keep losing and piss people off. But either way, I'll show you how I do it for ranked. Reduce cooldown on Unleash. I still take the root because it's a good, rooting people in place, can, if you do it at the right times to the right person, can be beneficial. Okay, lower cooldown on choke. Then I get Unstoppable here because you don't want to be, if you leap to somebody, you don't want the enemy tank to pull you away or push you or something like that, so I take Unstoppable. Okay, Cleanse on Endure Pain. Lower cooldown on Enraged. Okay, and then I still take Mad Dash. No, do I take Mad Dash? No, it's Reckoning and Intimidating. No, yeah, Reckoning and Thrown Gauntlet. Okay, more CC more often, and more intercedes for your friendly players, so that they take less damage. Okay, this is the setup that I take for ranked. All right, it's my style. But either way, here, let me just get on this training dummy here and show you guys a little rotation, right? So we're going to leap, we're going to get a free throw on our Vicious Throw, we're going to go ahead and Ravage, set up with the Sundering Assault, and then the big hit. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that your Retaliation, so you get a free Retaliation every time you use your Crushing Blow, okay? And it ignores the global cooldown, so you can see the burst in this is really fast. Okay, so let me do it again. So you have like this initial burst, and then after that you're kind of just waiting to burst somebody down again. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do it again. Here, that Ravage, Aegis Assault, Crushing Blow, and then you get a free Retaliation, and then Force Scream. Okay, and then after that, all you're doing is you gotta use some fillers, use a Vicious Slash, use your Saber Throw, and then wait on these main cooldowns right here, and then do it all over again. Okay. You get a little buff to smash as well in this spec. So here, boom, Aegis, Crushing Blow, Retaliation, Force Scream. Okay, and then I kind of use backhand as part of the rotation too, just because the rotation itself is kind of short. It does a little bit of good amount of damage, especially if it crits. But yeah, that's basically it. And then in between cooldowns, you're interceding, you're guarding, you're throwing taunts for people, right? And then when your cooldowns come back up, you get right back to it. Okay. There. I'm kind of lagging right now. Okay, and then you got your choke, right? Your push, leap, get another free Vicious Throw, and then go ahead and do your rotation all over again. Okay, Crushing Blow, Retaliation, Force Scream. Okay. That's basically it. This spec is actually really easy to. It's easy to play. It's pretty hard to kill. It's just that you have so many abilities, because you have 2 extra abilities. With your 1 defensive cooldown and your extra backhand. So you might have to shift your abilities around a little bit to make room for all of your extra stuff. But yeah, I hope this helped. I hope you guys liked it. I'm currently, I'm away from home on work-related business, and I'm gonna be away and pretty much unreachable in a few weeks, except maybe a day out of the weekend or something. I'll get lucky and maybe I'll be able to log in and do something. But yeah, for the most part I'm away. But I just wanted to make this guide because people have been asking, and I felt bad that I didn't make this guide. So there it is. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you on another one. Peace.